YouTube channels just don't blow up because of SEO or gimmicks anymore. So in this video, I'm going to show you the new way to build out your channel strategy step by step so that it can grow faster, like all of the examples I've worked with on screen, and one day become capable of generating $1 million. And just to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to try and come up with a brand new channel strategy that I think could blow it up in only 3 hours. So let's start the clock. Okay, so step one. So if you really want to grow a channel, you have to work out where you fit into your space that you want to go into, as well as how you can disrupt it. And also, you want to think about what problem you can build your entire channel around, which sounds hard, right? But I have a very simple solution for this. And you can see where I discovered it on my old channel right there. It is that powerful. And all you have to do is ask yourself, what is my backstory? Now, what that means is, what's the problem that you've solved that you can help other people solve too? And when you have that answer, you just build your entire channel around it. But why is a backstory so powerful? Well, let me show you. So this is Callaway, and he's a channel about growing on social media, and he has absolutely exploded in the last 12 months in a pretty competitive space. But he's done so doing everything I'm going to show you. The thing is, his backstory is the foundation that makes everything else work. So if you watch his channel, what you're going to find is it's filled with stories about his own social media accounts growing over and over again. And then pretty much every video he makes, he'll include one of those stories in it, which will help him make his point and prove he's credible and legit. Now, the reason this blows channels up is because the viewers have heard the same regurgitated 5 tips videos with information ripped from blogs so many times now, they love it when something feels new and unique. So when you package up your information using your backstory, even if the point you're making they've heard 1,000,000 times before, it keeps them hooked because it feels new. And Callaway knows the power of new. Listen to these clips.
But the good news is there are a bunch of new ways to win. It's clear to me we're in a new era. Social media is entering a brand new era.
But also, if you want the new way to make big money from YouTube, you need to build fans above everything else, and constantly sharing your relatable story about the struggle that your viewers have that you overcame means they go on a journey with you over time, which builds this really strong relationship. Ranking a video in search will never do that. So for step one, I'm going to come up with the backstory for our dummy channel that I'm going to build out. But don't you just invent one like this. Yours needs to be true. I don't have that luxury right now. All right, so give me like 15 minutes. All right, so here's the backstory I've come up with, and it's this. I'm a failed journalist who could never hold down a job. I got fed up with the corporate world and decided I want to become a freelancer, but quickly realized I couldn't land any work. I tried cold calling, I tried networking, and I tried Instagram too, but nobody took me seriously or wanted to listen until one day a news story broke out. So out of boredom, I just tweeted my opinion on it and boom, 10,000 impressions in a day. I'd never seen anything like this, so I started researching other journalists on Twitter and found that they were not just journalists, they were like celebrities on the platform with massive followings. And all they did was use the basic skills you're taught at uni for writing posts that get attention. It became so obvious how to hack this system, so I just used my journalist tricks, and 18 months later, I'd gone from 0 to 500,000 followers. What's crazy is because of my fast growth, I started getting DMs from people all over the world asking me how I'd done it and if I could help them too. So I began to work with clients, showed them how to do it, and we all got amazing results together. So that is like the dream backstory, because it's not just I did the thing, it's I also did this for others too, and that will give you next level credibility. But even if it was just I sucked and then I grew on Twitter with no client stuff, that's cool. We just need you to have been through a transformation your viewers and potential clients want. Now, before we move on, you might be wondering why I chose X or Twitter here for this exercise. And well, it's because off the top of my head, I can't think of a channel straight away that is all in on this. So I thought, well, it could be a gap. So what I want to do in this video is help you also work out how to find a gap, because a gap is the fastest way to grow. All right, so with my backstory, we're now going to move on to step 2. And to show you the power of this, we're going to go back to Callaway and ask, how has he blown up a channel about growing on social media so much faster than anyone else in his niche recently? And the reason is, it's because most people in the marketing or following growth niche have channels that look like this. Just ignore those thumbnails. I know they suck. It's more the overall strategy you need to pay attention to. So what you can see on screen right now is what I call a platypus channel. Basically, when science discovered a platypus, they thought someone had stuck loads of different animals together and it really confused them. They thought it was a hoax. So a platypus channel is one that basically creates the same kind of confusion with its audience because it has all different niches stuck together, meaning if one video blows up with one audience, it won't bring back the audience to the next. meaning you can never keep bringing people back, which is a critical part of building a business on YouTube, because the topics don't relate to each other. And that doesn't just mess with the viewer, that messes with the algorithm. It won't know where to push you. Holloway, however, look, he doesn't package his videos about Instagram or TikTok or Shorts, even though he's talking about things that really heavily impact those places. That's why he's winning, because he's basically figured out what his viewers actually care about on a deeper level, which he then just goes and makes every video about. And it's crazy, but he niched down and attracted a bigger audience as a result and found a gap at the same time. And that's what's interesting about niching. It doesn't always mean smaller viewership. It can blow you up. And really, if I'm honest, Callaway is pretty much the only channel in his niche, even though there's thousands of channels talking about other things he talks about. So how do you do this? Okay, so it works like this. You just need to establish who is your viewer, what's the problem that they think they have, what do they click on, what don't they click on, what type of content do they like, what do they hate, what do they resonate with, basically, what is their backstory? And this is what makes YouTube such a challenge, because we never really stop learning this. But to start, you just kind of take an educated guess and you build on it. So I'm going to write my viewer's backstory. Give me 5 minutes. By the way, this is not a 5-minute task, but I'll just work the best with what I've got. So here's my viewer's backstory. I'm going to say my target viewer is only people who want to grow a personal brand. Ideally, they already have a business. They're in English-speaking countries. They're doing above $100,000 a year profit. They're probably offering consulting or coaching or sell digital products or remote services. It's a little bit wishy-washy right now, but we can work on that. They're bought into using Twitter, and they're on it all the time from a personal standpoint. Now, this is kind of important, I think, because I don't want to convince people that Twitter or X or whatever it's called now is the right platform for them to use. I want people who already believe that it is, because it's going to be easier to then sell them a service and bring them back to my content rather than trying to sell to skeptics who are like, should I do this? Who shouldn't? Who often make annoying clients. So anyway, going back to Avatar, they also have tried to get traction and failed multiple times and can't figure out why, as they're convinced they're doing everything right. Now, 35 plus, they don't relate to bro marketing, the idea of get rich quick, because they're too experienced to know that that's all rubbish. They have a young family and they struggle for time and would love ways to make this all just work better for them. So that's their backstory. In a dream world, it's just your backstory before you transformed and got the result that they want. And if it is that, everything else will be easier. And then what we do is we use this information to just make all of our decisions by. So let me give you a bit of an example. So let's say you see a video in your niche blow up. Most people are going to go, I'm going to make my own version of that and copy what worked. And that's kind of what we're taught. But you need to slow down and think deeper about this. So let's say we see this video on YouTube blow up. It's in our niche. Most people are going to sit there and go, I'm going to make my own version of that, which is kind of right. But really, you just want to slow down a sec and think deeper about what kind of person actually watches a video like that. Because the number of views you see below a video doesn't mean they're all perfect for you. So let's use my avatar that I came up with to work out if they should make this video or not. So remember, they're above 35 years old, and looking at that thumbnail, it's just too bright, it's too glowy, it's too cartoony. And that topic about making money via ads on Twitter, well, I think about it, I'm like, well, I want to work with like personal brands, not people who are just trying to make ad revenue. Now, I'm in a bit of a unique position that you're not, because I get to see channels data like every day. And I know for a fact this video will bring in an 18 to 24-year-old from all over the world, which is why it's got so many views, because that's the biggest audience on YouTube. But for us, we don't want that viewership. And that's the thing about understanding your audience. It impacts everything. It impacts your presenting style, to what type of content we make, to the thumbnails, the titles, and the topics. And right now, what I'm seeing is a huge shift on YouTube, which is making it very clear this style is not what the over 30s want. Now, when I start getting into the thumbnails and titles for our demo channel here, you're going to see just how much this impacts it too. Okay, so now we have a backstory and a viewer type to base all of our decisions on. We move on to the third step. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come up with a video strategy. And to do that, I want you to think of YouTube like this. So you know the story of David and Goliath, and there's this giant man that everyone's scared of because he's a giant man, and they put tiny little David up against him, who's like a pea, but he wins the fight because he realizes, oh, there's a gap in Goliath's helmet, so he just sort of throws the rock and smashes him in the temple, and he wins. This is how you want to think about YouTube, because when you post your video, YouTube is going to put it to battle with the largest creators in your niche that your viewers watch too, as well as every other video they watch as well. And that means you are competing against Goliaths with years of experience and time getting to understand their viewers. They have amazing backstories, teams helping them make next level content, so you cannot fight them at their own game. You need to find a way to differentiate so you can stick them in the head with a rock and win. Please don't go throwing any rocks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my demo channel's backstory, I'm going to keep my ideal viewers in mind, and I'm going to try and find a gap that we can use to kill the giants in this niche with. Okay, so I'm going to do two things to start. The first is I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to look for channels that are just fully devoted to growing on X or Twitter, whatever it's called. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find individual videos that have performed really well on that topic. This is the sort of thing I would spend days or hours on usually, especially if I was new to YouTube. I can do a bit faster because I'm doing this for years, but I'm about an hour down, so I'm going to have to rush through this bit. But let's just see what we find. So I'm just going to type in how to grow on Twitter. All right, I'm going to scroll down, and here we are. This guy, Dakota. So he stopped posting. Great. And he's a platypus channel. Great. Now you're probably thinking, poor Dakota. It's been really mean here. But Dakota's like super credible, multi-platform influencer. He's big on X. He's got an amazing business. So he's probably just focused on other things right now. But it doesn't mean we can't learn anything, and I'm definitely not throwing shade on this marketing legend. All right, so let's just have a look at what he's got. So he's got videos on X, and let's click most popular, and okay, this is great. In his top 3 videos, 2 are about X. Oh, well, we've got some demand there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy these links and put them on this vision board. I'm just going to leave them there for now. That's it. Right, now I'm going to find another channel, and let's go on this one. All right, Hype Fury. I actually have their software. Let's look at their channel. What is this? What have you done? Did you fire someone who was actually doing quite a good job? I mean, look, what's this? This channel went from looking like this, which is okay, to baby's first YouTube. What are these thumbnails? All right, clearly they don't really care that much. So I'm just going to, again, look for videos that have got lots of views on Twitter or X, and I'm going to click on this one and just have a watch inside, see what sort of things they're talking about, see how good the content is, see how good my competition is. Are they good presenters? Have they got good scripts? Let's find out.
I studied over 16,000 X profiles and discovered something crazy. Smaller creators are doing things better than bigger creators, and maybe even you too.
What? Oh my gosh, hang on a sec. I have to show you this. So these people have literally ripped off one of my old videos scripts, pretty much word for word. They just swapped YouTube with Twitter. All right, now listen to mine.
I studied over 1,500 YouTubers as part of a competition, and I discovered something shocking. Smaller YouTubers are doing things better than bigger YouTubers. And probably better than you too.
In fact, what we found out meant that the video you're about to watch
was not the video I set out to make.
And we found out 3 unexpected lessons that we think are
Just so much more important. But to help you understand, we need to go back
to the start of this story.
Massive software company, really slacking there. Anyway, back on track. So you can see a few of their videos have done well on X. So again, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy and paste, pop them on my vision board. Now, I'm also, whilst I'm doing this, I'm looking for a ceiling. Okay, so like views potential in the niche, because a lot of people don't realize a niche can have a ceiling. Basically, it's like an amount of views you tap out at. So if you do this and the most views you find on your topic are like 100 views, it means you either panic and go, okay, there's no interest here, or it's the opposite and you've potentially found a gap, but you don't really know until you've tried, so don't just write it off entirely. But what I can kind of see so far is that like 200,000 views is kind of the top end here. And then on Hype Fury, their average was like 1,000, which isn't amazing. So we can't just assume that this is a bad idea because, well, we could make better videos than them. We could do better thumbnails, better titles, better intros. Well, maybe not better intros because I ripped off one of mine. But looking at it so far, I'm seeing top end of 200K, some outliers here and there. So I honestly believe we could get this niche to like 10 to 20,000 views per video in the long term. And that would create an amazing business if they were all my perfect avatar or very close to them. All right, so the next channel. And we've got this guy, Dave, who is another platypus channel. So look, he's covering everything in the world. And let's just check out his most popular. They're on X, my friend. Do the thing that got you the views if you have a product that can capitalize on it. It's like a massive neon sign telling you, make more videos about this. All right, so, this is a good sign. So what he's done here is he's gotten a decent amount of views social hacking. So social hacking is when you put someone famous that your audience kind of respects on your thumbnail, And I reckon that if I harness this technique on the channel, we could probably pop 100k views on a video, no problem. Maybe on a more regular basis too. So let's check out our next channel. Let's look at his top videos. And again, similar story. Talks about all sorts. Top videos on X. I'm just going to put some of them on my vision board. Okay, another channel. Top video. X. All right, this guy, Daniel. All right, bad news. Unfortunately, we haven't found a gap in this niche. What we've actually found is a flippin' Grand Canyon. Can you see the gap? No one's talking about Twitter every video, but when they talk about it, they get more views than everything else on their channel. So there is more demand than supply. Hello? All right, I'm gonna look at one more channel. I think we got everything we need. Okay, I was wrong. We do have a channel who's all in on X. Sadly, the views across the board are a little bit less than I hoped to see, but let's just have a quick look at his content. No, I don't think he's appealing to the same person that I want to appeal to. Look, he's talking about like monetizing ad revenue. It's kind of that problem I established at the start. So I'm gonna ignore most of his channel. I might take a few bits of inspiration from his thumbnails, but otherwise, I think we kind of need to cut the research session short now because we've got a huge amount of time left to make a load of thumbnails and titles. So now the next step is we need to turn what we've discovered into some thumbnails and titles that could actually build $1 million video strategy. And I've got about an hour, so don't expect the thumbnails and titles to look pretty. So I'm gonna go away and do that. I'm gonna pause filming for a sec because I can't do both at the same time. So let's see in about an hour. Whew. All right, so apologies for how awful these thumbnails I'm about to show you look are. I just can't make them that fast, but the strategy is more important than the overall design here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the first video idea that I've come up with, and then I'm going to show you why I gave it that thumbnail and title, and then I'm going to break that down, and then I'm going to show you the potential pros and cons of taking this approach, and then I'm going to show you what I hope to learn from it and my honest expectations of its performance, and then I'm going to show you how I would use my backstory to make that video get more views inside the content. Okay, so this is a new channel, so consider this. Right now, nobody knows who we are, nobody cares about us, so we need to get around that issue, and one of the best ways to do it for a new channel is just to harness someone that our viewers already respects and is interested in the thumbnail and title. So this is what my first idea is. I'm going to put Dan & Co in it, because I believe that that's the sort of creator my audience will like too, so I'm going to try and steal some of his audience. And this is what's known as social hacking. Social hacking really is massive. So Charlie from Charisma on Command, he grew an absolute beast of a channel, social hacking, like this. And Paddy Galloway, he used this to create a massive amount of views, and he's built a business off it as well. It's fantastic. And then there's me, Wish Paddy Galloway, and I managed to get millions of views using this too. So it's a good strategy. There is some downsides though, and what you have to be a little careful of is, well, when I made this video, you can see right now, it broke out way past my usual audience, and many of the comments were just Mark S and Mr. Who's the Boss fans. What that meant was, this video that came out afterwards, well, I launched it and it was a massive flop. And I was like, what? That video would usually do pretty well with my audience. What happened there? And well, think about it. YouTube's going to test your content with the hottest viewers, right? And if they've just come to your channel and binged a video and then they see one about editing that has nothing to do with what they care about, they're not going to click on it. So social hacking is good to a point where it could maybe go too wide and then cause you problems. So you're always best to social hack people who are kind of within your space. Now, the next con of this is if you do this every video and then you make a video with you in the thumbnail, it's very likely no one's going to click on you because your audience expectations become based on you providing them studies on other people they respect, not your own info. Now, I don't want to be that channel, but I'm going to use it in an attempt to get the channel going, but I'm not going to go all in it with every video because I want a personal brand. I don't want to be a narrator because personal brands are invaluable. So how will I bring in my backstory to this video? So this is what I would do. I would break down Dan and what he's done, but then I would say, now let me tell you what he's doing from a journalistic point of view. Because remember, that is the thing that makes me different. And then I'm going to let people know that I'm a pro by using this information, that I've been in the game for years, and that I'm going to pair journalism with Dan so that it feels new and it will bring in my backstory. Now, my expectations for this video are, I think it could get past 100,000 views based on other stuff I've seen about Dan. But if I'm new to YouTube, let's face it, it's probably not going to happen. 100,000 views would be based on the content being strong. So we need good presenting, good storytelling, great editing, good, like everything needs to be at a decent level and a much slicker thumbnail than I've made too. But the strategy can work. But assuming we've got that, we could get off to a flying start here. So my next video idea, I launched a channel once, made the worst video of all time, had no editing, just me reading a news post out loud, and it got thousands of views because when a news story breaks, demand spikes and there's not much supply. So for this video, what I'm going to do is the same kind of thing, just by targeting a news story. Now, in my research, none of the outliers I found did this style of content, but I think all of those channels were missing out here because of Elon Musk. He's like one of the most clickable people on the planet right now. He's always saying something that gets him in the news. So we can harness that in the thumbnails like I have. So I'm going to news hack for one of my videos. Now, I'd maybe release this video fourth in the bunch, and then what I'd try and do is push viewers back to content that's a bit more evergreen and in-depth, which is a strategy that we can utilize. Also, it's probably worth mentioning that this video idea in particular is hitting on 3 trends, and trends get you more views because, well, there's more supply than demand. So Grok is Twitter's AI. AI right now is trending, it's easy views. Then we're breaking a news story, which is easier views, and then we're using social hacking. So my expectations for this kind of video would be that, yeah, it could get strong views pretty fast if we nail it. Now, the cons, well, news just isn't evergreen. So what happens is you release it, you'll get a big spike, and then the video will just die. So I do not want to build a channel on this type of content because I once met a channel who every video was news, and it basically meant if they went on holiday and stopped posting, their channel went down to like 0 views. I don't want that stress, baby. So how do I bring my backstory into news? Well, good question. So in the hook, what I would do is I would set up that I grew to 500,000 followers on Twitter in 18 months. And in that time, this is the biggest change I've seen that is forcing me to totally rethink Twitter. And then I'm just going to give them the news. I'm going to teach people how to survive it. And because my differentiator is I'm a journalist, I'm going to make sure I drop in tricks to help them react so they get news, backstory, and actionable advice, which is like an amazing formula here. Move on to my next idea. So this one is based a lot more on what I found with the outliers on my vision board, but I'm seeing a lot of changes on YouTube at the moment, and the 35 plus audience, they don't seem to want that over the top feel. They don't want much editing. They want things way more stripped back and authentic. So for this next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try out a way more authentic, kind of chilled out style in the way I produce it and in the thumbnail and in the title. Now, this is why I strongly disagree with the common advice that you need to come up with a video thumbnail style that's consistent straight away. That can cause problems because if you come up with a consistent thumbnail style that doesn't work, you consistently fail. So what we need to do, especially for a new channel here, is we need to try out different thumbnail styles to work out what our audience likes and then do more of that. So for this video, it's a deep dive, and I'm going to lay out a process to help people grow on Twitter. And I think it's going to be like 40-ish rough minutes long. Now, the pros of this type of video, if this does well, and let's say it converts more viewers to subscribers, I'd probably then think about just pushing everyone back to this video from new videos as much as I possibly could to create like a funnel that would turn cold viewers into hot fans faster. Now, the cons, if you are super new to YouTube or you're not really an expert on what you're doing, don't make a deep dive. We're assuming I am, so just keep that in mind. But basically, deep dives are long presentations and they're very hard, and it's not a case of make a long video and you will grow. That's not what viewers want. They want a ton of quality information simplified with stories, backstory, credibility, examples. If you don't have that, these will just be a nightmare. Now, my expectations for this video are, do you know what? I don't really care. Now, that might sound weird, but my goal would be just to make something I thought was insanely useful so that I could point other videos back to it over the long term. I don't really care what it does other than that, so long as it's actual quality. But how do we get in our backstory to something like this? Well, deep dives, believe it or not, are just one giant backstory. It's you saying what you learned and then what works, and then laying out the process you discovered. And what that means is each step you can just tell a short story which proves that step makes impact. And that's kind of it over and over again. And that's why these are so powerful when made right. And then my next video idea is this, and it follows one of my favorite titles, just I did X, here's what I learned. You'll see it on my channel all the time. Now, the reason I love this video style is because it instantly makes you sound credible, which is one of the most important things to grow a business on YouTube. And also, this startup video is really easy to make because you can just put a list of things that you learn. And we've seen Dan Martell and Hormozy and myself do really well with this sort of content. But again, they only kind of work if you have that backstory, because all this is storytelling over and over again. So the cons of this, well, that thing in the title, that you fill in the gap with has to feel remarkable. If it's, I watched 3 YouTube videos and learned this, it's like, nobody's going to care. So for this guy, he's written over 10,000 tweets, so I went with that version, and that's why. It's pretty cool, right? And now again, for this thumbnail style, I thought I'd test out more authenticity in the look. So it's a lot more stripped back. Now what this means is the channel is going to be a bit of a visual mess, but we can always tidy that after. What I want to find is which style do I lean into more over time. So how would I get my backstory into that? Well, I mean, that entire video is just a backstory. I had this problem. I discovered something that helped me to solve it. Here's the lesson I learned. Repeat, 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 repeat. Okay, so that's my first 4 videos. That's as far as I'm going to work. I don't want to post any more than that because I'm going to learn something with these first 4 videos. I'll then repeat in my next videos. But we're going to move on to step 5, which is just making these videos. So we would shoot them, we'd edit in the style that our viewers want. And then all I'm going to do is post one of these a week and then look for signs of what the best type of content to make more of might be. Now, if I get 0 views, we're not going to be able to do that. But I don't think that's going to happen in this case because we've got so many of the things in place that blow up a channel. So if the deep dive did well, I'd maybe say, all right, I'll do some more process-based stuff. If the news did well, I'd be thinking, okay, do I want to keep pumping news? Maybe I'll keep doing it a bit and drive people back to that deep dive. If a social hack did well, I'd do more of that. So I can't go past these 4 videos because this is a demo, and I'm not actually going to make videos about Twitter because that's not my backstory. It wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't grow. People would be like, you're a phony, and I'd never get anywhere. But it does bring us to the question, well, what would you do next? Let's say the channel has blown up, and let's say it's getting 10,000 views per video. Well, you watch this video next, part 2, where I'll show you exactly how to turn your viewers into buyers.